the top of the show, I did say that I was in New York a couple of weeks back for the big one between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. Devin Haney defending his super lightweight strap. And I will say this in terms of atmospheres, in terms of just fight weeks, probably the best fight week I've ever covered. It was
Hmm.
crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And then obviously the fight itself turned out to be crazy. And it was almost like a redemption arc for Ryan Garcia, although he came in overweight, 143 pounds. We can't skip over that. It was a redemption arc, and he's gone on this, if you like, this tour, this tour of just kind of lapping up all the praise. And then, unfortunately, as with the good come the bad, became this story about Ryan Garcia testing positive for Ostarine. I think Dan Raphael was one of the first to break it, followed by, as you know, the journos out there that cover these things, Mike Coppinger, etc., etc. And so has begun now the quest to either for him to prove his innocence or for the New York State Athletic Commission to prove that he is guilty and slap him on the wrist with potentially a 6 to 12 month ban. How disappointing though, Gareth, before we get into what Austrian is and what it means to Ryan Garcia, how disappointing is it though that Ryan, who I think with that win almost became the face of boxing, it became so big overnight. It was sensational. How disappointing that this has happened to him after what was the biggest win of his career.
Well, we get accused very often, or boxing can be accused of being, it's very big news inside a bubble. But there's no question. I think you're right that his victory over Devin Haney took him mainstream, and he becomes a very important pivot. He became in that moment a very important pivotal figure
Mm.
in the development of a group of young fighters in America who are potentially like half a dozen stars, the magnificent 6 or 7, call them what you want, with Devin Haney and Ryan himself, and Tank Davis and Keyshawn Davis. A lot of Davises in here. I'm liking that. Teofimo Lopez, Vasyl Lomachenko, Shaka Stevenson. Say there's a 7 there. He's pivotal in the fact that what it's proven is you don't need a belt with Ryan Garcia, I think, to have big fights now. That was 2 weeks ago when the fight happened, and it was an amazing victory. And he did the Enrico Il Quarto thing, the Pirandello novel that I was talking about, Luigi Pirandello pulling the wool over the eyes of his courtiers, playing this incredible mind game, one of the biggest heists in boxing history, rather like Steve Collins saying he was hypnotized
Yeah.
against Chris Eubank all those years ago. And but brilliant psychology and mind games. And yeah, he was somewhere out in the wilds in his zany self as well, at the edge of the cliff without being close to falling off it. All that said, there was a big collective sigh of, oh no, when the positive drug test came back for Ostarine, which obviously is used in cancer care, breast cancer care for women, because it builds tissue, it makes lean muscle tissue, and obviously has been used by certain fighters or in supplements and so on.
Amir Khan was
Amir Khan got a 2-year
Khan
ban,
two-year
didn't he?
ban for the fight
2022.
against Kell Brook. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's there, and it's a drug. It's been on the banned list for 16 years. In 2008 on the WADA, World Anti-Doping Agency list. It was one of those, oh no, not again moments.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. And so it's very disappointing, Eddie. And the fascinating thing that's gone on about it is the immediate profession of innocence from Ryan Garcia. The fact they're going to do the work, the desire to see the B sample, which is the same as the A sample, cut in half at the time. It was a urine test that showed up Austrian on the weigh-in day and the day of the fight. So it's very, very serious. It's very, very serious because, had he damaged Devin Haney irreparably in that fight, and they were talking about killing each other, if you recall.
Yeah, Bill Haney got involved in that conversation.
Yeah. But we would be dealing with a very, very a heinous criminal case right now, potentially.
Yeah.
The proof that did this guy take a banned substance? So it's very serious for the sport. It's very serious for Ryan Garcia. He deserves the opportunity to prove his innocence, in my view. And the fact he's been very prominent around events you were at. I know you were there with him in Vegas. Did you manage to speak to him at all?
I did. I caught up with him, and he was almost disgusted of the fact that I thought or I even questioned whether or not he did. It's almost like, don't even ask me. Of course I didn't. It was almost like that. And look, I think most people, when they get caught, put up this defense immediately. I think we've seen Conor Ben do it as well, haven't we? Um, but but he does seem very aggressive with it as well. And I'm not a scientist. I kind of wait for the people that are smarter and know a lot more about this drug, and I wait for it to play out, if you like. But he does make you feel like something has gone on with this test or gone on with this whole situation. But again, that's just maybe because I have a relationship with him as such, if you like, a small relationship where I want to believe him. I will say this: there was an overnight test for norangesterone, which is, I believe, it's a kind of a byproduct of nandrolone. He came back negative for that, which is important for him. So it is just I say just, but it is the ostarine, and that's the only thing they're dealing with now. So again, we just have to wait and see how this plays out. But if it does come back that he is guilty and he does get a ban, it's just disappointing.
Oh, it's more than that.
That's what it is.
It's
It's
extraordinary.
So, yeah, it is. It is, right, because again, he is on top of the world at the moment. And you want you want someone like him to be the face of the sport, because he kind of engages the youth. He's a good-looking guy. He actually fights. He gives you fights. He's active. He seems to be one of the ones that will fight anyone. Obviously, having fought Tank and fought Devon. He's been talking about going up to 147, 154. So it'll be very, very disappointing. But at least we know VADA are doing what VADA should be doing, which is testing for everything and finding people that are cheating. And looks like they could have found Ryan Garcia.
Yeah, I think, look, he's as thrilling as he is vulnerable when he fights. So he brings so much. You know what he's going to do. He's going to try and knock out his opponent. He did it against Devon Haney by knocking him down 3 times and taking over in the fight, in a very close fight, by the way, in my view. But you could see in Las Vegas last weekend when he was there, and obviously Gervonta Davis turned up. You can see that Gervonta Davis wants a rematch. You can see a big fight. You can see the big bucks. You can see a fight maybe at 145 this time, or 143 this time. Ryan Garcia is pivotal in the hopes of those other names in having big fights. He's the one with the big following. Obviously, Tank Davis is an extraordinary talent, and I loved how much media he's growing up right now. By the way,
big time.
That surly character who, came out of The Wire, basically, of Baltimore, Maryland, from that environment of crack cocaine and methamphetamine, and where he grew up, and children's homes. He started to become, I don't mean a man, because
no, he should be. He's 29 now.
Yeah, but there's a growth in him. He looks fantastic. I like the clarity in his eyes when he was talking to everyone. He did a lot of interviews with Ellie Setback, I've known Ellie a very long time. He did a lot of backstage interviews, Ellie, this time, and I thought they were really good. I think, for me, people have been calling for a lifetime ban from Ryan Garcia, I've heard in some places. He hasn't even had a chance to prove his innocence yet. Hold on. Let's not be so knee-jerk. But if he is proved to have taken that, and he's got no defense in his own case, he's been around a while. He's never tested for anything before. I don't think an immediate ban, a lifetime ban or 10-year ban is appropriate. I do think it needs a punishment, but it's not good for boxing right now. And again, it's the worst area of boxing. People dying, people getting damaged irreparably, and drug taking. They're the 3 worst areas in sport. Worse than the smoke and mirrors and fights not happening. And it's just depressing when you work in the industry around that, isn't it?
Yeah, I know it is. And look, we wait to see how this one plays out. Hopefully, for Ryan's sake, it's some sort of positive news. But if it isn't positive, the New York State Athletic Commission need to do what they need to do. And as much as, Ryan's good for the sport, bans need to be imposed, proper bans.
Or the whole purse, or they sign a contract where their whole purse is taken away.
Yeah.
Something
money.
like that.
You're right.
A deterrent.
You're right. I agree, because 12 months is nothing for fighters that fight once a year. You're right.
Oh, I earn 20 million for a fight. It's that as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Money's the most important thing. All right. Unfortunately, some bad news as well has happened in the last couple of weeks, and that is that the Bivol Beterbiev fight is off. Artur Beterbiev injured, likely to have some sort of knee surgery, they're saying, so won't be able to be back in the ring until at the earliest the fall, which is very American, autumn for us English fight fans, around September, October. Malik Zinad will step in and take on Dimitri Bivol. Many of you might not have heard of Malik Zinad. He is unbeaten, but look, obviously he's not clearly not a top fighter. But for Dimitri Bivol, it's a case of stay busy. I said, and I kind of tweeted Gareth that Anthony Yard or Joshua Boatsi, if they got the call, should have stepped in. That someone, this is an opportunity for someone, but obviously, look, they're trying to get their fight on. But it is happy, or it's good, I say, that Dimitri Bivol still stays on the card. I do wonder now, though, will he still be the main event? Will he headline the 5 versus 5, or will it just go automatically now to Deontay Wilder, Zhili Zhang? Like, is Dimitri Bivol versus Malik Zinad bigger than Deontay Wilder versus Zhili Zhang?
no, no. But what I was thinking was, here's my immediate thought when it happened was, right, here's a chance for Frank Warren to ring Anthony Yard and say, right, get back in my stable right now, my friend. We've had a very long and illustrious time together. Bivol is an Eddie Hearn guy. You're my guy. We can make it a 6v6.
Ooh.
You know? Oh, yeah, exactly. It's a shame, isn't it? I think it didn't happen because I don't think that's happening because His Excellency Turki Al Sheikh and the team want to do Beterbiev and Bivol. It easily makes a main event at some point. It's a boxing fans fight. Zinad, I think, is 14 with something like the IBF, ranked 14 with the IBF, undefeated. Libyan, fights out of Malta now, I think. 16 knockouts in 22 fights. No, he's not top level, but you got to think about his mind right now as well, which is, oh my God, look at this opportunity to change my life generationally for my family. If I pull off the unexpected in this, I'm not expecting him to, but if I pull off the unexpected, do I get a rematch of Bivol, or do I get to fight Beterbiev afterwards? Do I get to fight for the undisputed? Opportunity knocks. Opportunity knocks here for him. But it is disappointing. I think it'll be main event. You're right. The bigger fight now is definitely Deontay Wilder, Zhili Zhang, and Flip Hergovich and Daniel Dubois. Maybe
I think they might
main at 3, and then we have the 2 heavyweight fights.
Yeah,
last.
I think they might change it around a bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it makes sense. There's no
Absolutely.
point having Bivol versus Zined
Yeah.
as the main event.